How's it going, everyone? Nick here with McGaughys Suspension. Got another one for you here today. We're going to go over this truck build and give you a little explanation of the truck owner, what he wanted to accomplish and how we accomplished it with the help of Signature Performance down here in Costa Mesa, California, one of our authorized dealers. So what we have here is a 2025 Chevy 2500 HD, and a little bit of backstory is, we've done a lot of GMCs on our social media and also on our YouTube, just because that's what's been landing in our laps for media. And I really wanted to highlight a Chevy because I haven't had my hands on a Chevy other than a black one that we originally did from the start, but I wanted to get some more variety in it. So I put up a post on social media say that I was looking for a 2500 Chevy in a couple different colors, and Adam here, the owner of this truck, reached out and said that he was definitely looking to do something with his suspension and he wanted to work with us. So basically got on the horn with him, discussed what he was trying to accomplish with his truck, and originally he was looking at doing a leveling kit and he wanted to fit some 37s underneath it, but after discussing his wheel option, we quickly figured out that that was going to take, he wanted to go wider, and it was going to take a lot more modifications to the cab side and to the bumper side as well. So a lot of people talk about, hey, you can fit 37s underneath these trucks with a leveling kit, slightly modified factory truck, you can fit a 37. But the thing that people fail to really clue in on the result is going to be the wheel. So depending on how wide, how far out the wheel sticks, poke, or how further in it stays to the fender, is going to change how much clearance you have in this area right here. And obviously some people are willing to modify, but again, you keep on asking for a little bit more room, and you quickly just discover that you're running out of space there. And so the other thing that happens is a lot of people will do a leveling kit and then they want to go up higher and max out the travel of the leveling kit, which then takes away from ride quality because you have no droop travel at that point. So after going over that with Adam, I was like, hey, here's my suggestion. Do our 4-inch kit, set it up at exactly 4 inches, and set yourself up with a better wheel combo that will fit the 37s underneath it. And this is what Adam came up with. He looked online and found these wheels right here. They're called a foundation. This is the first time that I've had a set on a truck that I've done any type of content on, and these things are pretty nice. They're definitely a good looking wheel, and these come in a couple different styles. You have to look on Foundation's website and actually see what they come in for sizes and for finishes and what have you. But Adam got the raw finish, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't see him beforehand, but then he sent them out to a buddy that does powder coating, and they did this gold color and then black simulated beadlock rings. Again, they're not real beadlocks, they're just simulated. And on this white truck, I think it really looks good. Some people are into the gold, some people aren't, but again, you can change color and make that all work for your own desire. But the significance of this wheel was that it's an 18x9 and it's a positive 19. So that keeps it nice and flush with this fender, keeps it tucked just a tad, just right on that fender line, to where it doesn't look like it's a factory wheel sucked in, but it just makes it look really nice and clean. And ultimately, he was able to fit these 37 Toyo RTs at exactly 4 inches. And again, the significance of being exactly at 4 inches and not, raised up any further is going to come down to these angles right here. Those CV angles, tie rod angles, ball joint angles, all the angles, the working angles of the suspension, that's all resembling how your truck comes from the showroom floor, off the showroom floor. If you notice here on our cross member drop, the bolt holes are straight up and down from the factory to our new drop bracket position. The significance of that is that we don't add any track width to the front end of the truck, which then helps. So then whatever you're figuring out on your wheel offset and width, you're not adding any track width gain to that as well. So whatever it is factory, that's how it is after it's lifted. And again, we're just looking at those CV angles, which the significance is that, that is showing that we have proper amount of droop travel and compression travel for ride quality. Nothing's, you know, aggressive angles going down the road. That's going to give you optimized, you know, suspension. Nothing's maxed out. You're not stretched out. A lot of people think that adjusting your torsion bars stiffens the ride, like the torsion bar gets stiffer, which the actual, you know, torsion bar doesn't necessarily get stiffer. What happens is that you have more abrupt angles. So now that is limiting your droop travel, which when you hit a bump, the suspension drops out and locks out quick and abruptly, and that's where the rough ride comes from. So maintaining droop travel is the name of the game with these GM trucks. That's why we're going with a 4-inch kit to fit these 37s. I know some people might argue and say, well, I can do that with a leveling kit. Well, your leveling kit possibly might be able to get this high, but now you're gonna be stretched out, if that makes sense. So, you know, again, we're trying to promote, get the proper lift, proper suspension height, and keep all the geometry like this truck was designed from factory. So let's go over real quick here the measurements, just kind of for the guys that have leveling kits or thinking about doing this. So from the center hub, the center cap, the center of it, to this fender lip, this truck is 28.5 inches of ride height, okay? I, in previous videos, talk about how the HDs are 24 inches factory. I just want to put a little extra note on there, is that I did have some conflicting measurements from some HD Chevy owners, and I went down to the dealership and I actually spec'd out a handful of factory trucks that are stock, nothing modified to them. And of course, because the Chevy has just a slight hump in this fender here compared to the GMs, the center hub factory to the fender is about 3/8 of an inch more. So like 24 3/8 is what these trucks are coming from off the showroom floor on the Chevy side of things. The same actual ride height in suspension travel, but because that fender is cut a little bit higher, it's a little bit more of a distance between the Chevys and the GM. So about 3/8 of an inch is what I found commonly over across, measured out about 6 trucks on a couple different dealership in their lots. No modifications done to them. So obviously 24 3/4, you add 4 inches to it. This one's sitting at 28.5. So just a hint over that mark of 4 inches. And the rear is sitting on our 1 3/4 rear block with no shims in the rear. The rear stance from center hub to the fender is sitting at 27.5 inches. And you might say, Nick, that's odd, because then basically the rear's lower by 1 inch. Actually, no, because again, we're just measuring suspension travel, ride height, not actual stance of the truck. So the second measurement that we're gonna do to get the stance of the truck is we're gonna measure on the front pinch weld here of the body. So this right here, and then we'll do it again on the rear of the cab to get our stance front to back. And on this truck, the rear cab pinch weld is 22.5 inches from pinch weld to ground, and then the rear is 23 inches. So that's given us a 1/2 inch rake, nose down to the rear. The rear's up about a 1/2 inch. All these measurements I'm going to put down into the description, as well as the bed measurements, the overall cab height measurements, in case you're trying to fit underneath a parking structure, or if you're trying to put a cab over, fifth wheel, any of that stuff. Obviously, I'm mindful because people are building these trucks for a reason to use them as trucks. The measurements help you, okay? So we're gonna also go into a couple of the upgrades. Actually, one upgrade that was done with this truck with Adam is that he opted to go with the upper control arms by McGaughys, and that also included, he wanted to do the billet ball joint caps as well in satin black. And then standard with the kit is our M84 series shocks that we valve in-house, specifically whether you have there's part numbers for the 2500 kit or the 3500 kit, because those two trucks have different payloads, a little bit stiffer on the 3500, so the valving is a little bit different. So we're looking for the best seat of your pants performance, multiple times in development of driving our shop truck 2500 HD, pulling shocks out, revalving them, putting them back in, putting some more miles on them, and testing, and finally came up with this valving spec that we're speccing them out in-house. And then I want to show you because Adam didn't want to do any aggressive cutting at this point, because who wants to cut up a nice new truck? So if you notice here, the Chevys actually have one of these fender caps that don't hang down as low as the GMs. So that has stayed in position. This right here curves in. I think Adam removed another piece that was here factory. He did bring it in with that possibly taken off, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to look at a Chevy and see if that's removed. You can look at your factory and see. But then over here on the felt, the inner liner, this was cut across just about, I want to say that's probably about an inch between that mounting bolt and the bottom line here. There's about an inch. So whatever it hung down, cut up this far. And then these brackets are real thin and you can push them forward just to get this felt out of the way when the tire turns in, and then just cut across. No trimming on this lower bumper section. But Adam removed the lower air dam or valance that comes on the truck. So that's gone, which that regularly would have been just a little bit of minor trim on it. Overall, the truck looks really good. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. Little shout out to Signature Performance for doing the install on this one. They're located in Costa Mesa, California here. Adam's located down here in Orange County as well. Another thing that Signature Performance has been doing that people have been really, really liking is that you'll see here the factory CV shaft and that axle side right there on the passenger side, that's all black. That's not how these trucks come factory. Believe it or not, if you look at your factory truck underneath it, which you don't see because they're so low, that stuff is raw. And you know, it's not the end of the world that it's raw, but you'll quickly find out after you lift your truck that that is an eyesore, because now you have all this new, you know, aftermarket lift components and everything underneath your truck. And then you'll see the CV shaft has surface rust on it, and the passenger side axle shaft. So Signature Performance takes a little bit of extra time per customers, you know, what they want. You know, if someone wants to pay for it, then they do. If they don't, then it's up to you. But I really feel that that is a nice upgrade or service to provide and let customers know, because a lot of times shops don't let them know, and then it's too late. Once the truck is built, it would have to come back apart again to properly, you know, paint it and everything. So shout out to Signature Performance for taking the extra step and letting their customers know about it and giving them the option. Like Adam, he went ahead and said, yes, go for it. The truck looks phenomenal. These wheels are really cool. First time that I've been able to, you know, create any content with a white, you know, Chevy, let alone with these gold wheels. It just helps with the way that the truck pops and just looks. Again, that personal look and touch. Every truck owner has a little bit of a different style and what they want to achieve, what they feel is the perfect setup for themselves. I will also just give a thank you to all the truck owners that have taken the opportunity to DM or message us through our social media. Like I always say in the YouTube videos, it's, you know, you can comment down below. I'll do the best I can to, you know, communicate back and forth. But ultimately, if you have any questions about this kit or any of our other product, you can feel free to reach me on Instagram or Facebook. Just send me a message. My name is Nick. I'm happy to go over all the stats for this truck or any other truck to help you emulate it. You can also contact our office. You can contact our office to find a local dealer to purchase and buy this product. And you know, when it's all said and done, we want our customers to have the best results. On the Chevys, the best results are the measurements, the end measurements of how these trucks are set up. Just because you get our product, I hate to say it, but you know, just because you get our brand, our product, doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. You have to set it up correctly. So for example, a customer reached out to me and said, hey, your rear blocks aren't tall enough for my truck. Asked him what kit he has. Quickly found out, said, hey, give me a measurement from your center hub to your fender. Sure enough, the shop set the truck up too tall in the front. So that's why the rear of his truck was too short. Not because our kit comes with too short of a block. We wouldn't do that to you. Our kits are developed to come, you know, fat out of the box to be able to let you set up your truck on a leveled stance. On our HD trucks and our Ford Super Duties, we do have shim packs that go in the rear spring to give it a little bit more adjustability for personalization of the rear. But again, you should never have an issue to where you can't get the rear up to match the front. If that's the case, take a second look at that measurement and just make sure that you're not over cranked on the front end of your GM truck. That's usually the GM situation, not the Fords or the Rams, because those have a different style front end, but these are adjustable. So we want to make sure that these trucks, these GM trucks, don't get over adjusted. If they get over adjusted too high, then you lose droop travel. The travel right here that you see in between this control arm and that frame stop there, you'll lose, like if that there's no space in between there, you're too high. And if you have any questions, you don't need to be the expert at all. I'm here to help you. Just send us a DM, shoot me some pictures, I'll ask you some questions and I'll help you out. Again, we want to have the best end result with our product, and the only way that we're going to do that is be able to communicate with you guys, the truck owners, to get that result. As always, I love all the support. McGaughys appreciates everyone, especially on social media, that buys our product and tags us in their content. We love resharing your stuff, and if you guys need any help finding a dealer or where to purchase it, feel free to contact us. We'll get you set up with a dealer. Again, my name is Nick with McGaughys Suspension. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this brand new 2025 2500 HD running our 4-inch kit on 37s. See you guys on the next build. Thanks.